Today's small business webinar you will receive credit for. All BACP webinars are part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, which is a free program for anyone interested in starting or growing a business here in Chicago. And getting a certificate is easy as 1, 2, 3. Register, attend, and graduate. Graduating from the program makes you eligible to apply for a loan with our partners at CIBC Bank, and new to the program, earn college credit with City Colleges of Chicago. For full program details, please visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. The views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and are not the official policy or position of the City of Chicago or BACP. And at this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Liz for us to begin.
Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I am here today to talk to you about social media, but I am here as a member of the National Association of Women Business Owners. The National Association of Women Business Owners is a wonderful organization that I have been a member of for over 2 years now. It's the premier organization for women business owners who are serious about growth, leadership, and impact. I want to let you know, though, it's not just for women. We have our NAWBOs as well, too. So for all you guys out there, do not count us out. We offer powerful peer connections to women who get it. There's education, leadership, development, advocacy, a trusted community, and, most importantly, it's hard to be a business owner out there. It's a group of wonderful folks locally who support each other. If you're interested, there's contact information on the screen, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. Let me take a minute and switch screens now, guys, and introduce myself. My name is Liz Short. I am CEO and co-founder of The Short Solution. We are a company that helps organizations optimize the things that they spend money on to make money, is what I like to say. That falls into two different categories. My background is 22 plus years in the mortgage, finance, and technology world. I've spent a lifetime helping teams optimize the technology they purchase, helping make sure that technology works together, and helping them make sure that their users and clients are successfully adopting that new technology. I went out on my own about 4 years ago. And during that time, I started building my business using social media. And I did not really expect that that's what I would be doing. People enjoyed what I was doing. They were very interested and they kept asking me, how I was doing what I was doing. So about 2.5 years ago, we started also a second line of our business where we do social media strategy and video, especially for businesses and business owners on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So very interesting world. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be here talking to you about the success that I've found in social media, I wouldn't have believed it. But I can sit here and today to tell you, I am primarily on LinkedIn, and over 95% of my business comes from connections that I've made on LinkedIn over the past 3 years or referrals from those connections. So social media is a powerful tool, whether you are B2B or B2C. And I know as small business owners, it is hard to find the time. But with anything, what you put in with a little strategy is what you're going to get out. And today I want to talk to you about the success I found and how to apply it to what you're doing today. My methodology is get shit done. As you can see on the screen, that is my own opinion. But what that really means is I want to come in and help people move the ball forward incrementally in whatever they're doing. And that's how I found success in my social media as well, too. I told you about 4 years ago, I started my journey as a business owner. July 1st, 2022 was my first day going out on my own in my consulting role. And I didn't jump into video or social media with both feet first right away. I did put a few posts out on social media, but it wasn't really until October 2023 that I aggressively started the social media campaign that I have today. It goes to show you that it doesn't take long for you to find success in social. I have, um, I have found that over time, I've been able to build both my client base and my referral base by the use of social media. Now, you might say, well, Liz, maybe you were great at social media before. That is not true. I like to tell people that I was what I called a social media lurker before I showed up and started promoting my business. I was on the social platforms, but I was not out there promoting it. But I knew when I was serious about going out on my own and starting my own business, I had to take it seriously and I had to come up with a plan. So, I want to start off by talking to you about what the most important foundation is, I think, in your journey into social media. Um, it's not exactly something that feels natural to most of us. You can't go and get your degree in social media and then, the things that you learn 10 years from now still be applicable. It is something that is always changing. It's something that's always growing. And it's something as business owners is not our full-time job, right? We're not out there trying to figure out how to create the most likable post. We don't have a lot of time and energy to create all of this content. But what we do have is a reason that we're showing up on social media. So I always tell people who are like, Liz, I want to get onto social media, but I don't know what to do. You have to start with why. Why are you saying that? What are you trying to achieve? For me, I wanted to be successful in my business. I did not want to have to quit and go back and get a corporate America job. I loved that life. It was wonderful, but it was time for me to move on. Your why might be different. You might want to generate leads, bring customers into your business, of course, but maybe you need to connect to other folks who are doing what you're doing. Find mentors, find peers, I like to call them business besties that you can connect with. You can also find different referral partners, people that can help drive business to your business, folks that might have a aligning service that they offer that you guys can collaborate on and join each other to help promote. So why are you showing up? Why do you want to get on social media? And ask that why question a little bit more, right? I want to be successful in my business. Why? Because I want to be able to pay my bills and feed my family, right? Like really remembering why you're showing up and why you want to do it is helpful because it is not easy. It is not linear, right? And so getting back to why you're doing it and why you're carving out and spending time on it is really, really super important. I like to say that social media is a three-legged stool. Um, you want to include it as part of your marketing plan, but as business owners, it is not our full marketing plan, nor is it a marketing plan, right? We should be combining social media with other forms of marketing, with face-to-face networking and connections, as well as personal video. Okay. So people connect with people. People enjoy watching other people talk on social media. They are not as connected to a brand video, a brand uh, a post that doesn't have a human connection in it. Again, there is a place in marketing for that type and in social as well too. But we want to make sure we're also having some human connection in our business because that is what marketing trends show that folks are really connected to today. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second and move around here. Now, you might say, Liz, okay, I get it. I want to show up. I know that I have to show up, but I want to hire a marketing person. I want to outsource this completely. And I do agree there is a lot that you can outsource. But as I said, people connect with people and not companies today. And so we need you and your face, your brand also involved with the company brand as well too. So you can outsource pieces, you can outsource production, you can bring in people to help you, and I suggest you do. We're going to talk about that in a second. But when folks say, Liz, I just want to hand it off and not have to worry about it and deal with anything, I think you're missing out on the true value that social media can bring you. It is about connection, and it is really your top of funnel marketing tool that can get people to stop, pay attention to you, and pull them down into different information about you, about your business, about what you do, what you serve, what you provide. Now, we started talking about knowing your why. Okay. I think that's the first thing that you have to do. The second thing that you have to do is you cannot do it alone. Okay. I firmly believe this. You cannot outsource it 100%, but it is not easy to sit in a room and figure out what you want to say on social media. I mean, I can hop on this webinar, I can get on a stage, I can talk to a lot of people. You guys are successful business owners. I know you can probably step up and command a room, you can lead your team. It is way different when you're sitting alone in a room trying to figure out what you're going to post, trying to record your first video, trying to figure out how you are successful in the energy that you're putting into social media. So, I recommend you have folks that help you with two different parts, okay? I have a business bestie that helps me strategize all of my content, and we're going to talk about the tactile ways that I do that here a little bit later on. But we sit down and we go through what I want to do for the quarter, topics I should talk about, what would make great videos. I do a lot of video, and her and I just sit down and ideate and bounce ideas off of each other. This might be someone in your business that you work with, right? You might have a business bestie, a co-founder. You might have someone that helps you out with marketing. You might have someone that is in a totally just friend that you have that you know is in marketing that you might run these ideas past. It's a lot easier if you have someone else who's helping you. It removes kind of that, ooh, I don't know what I should post. And it helps get those juices flowing. Now, the second thing that I'm going to say is I do a lot of video and I do not edit my own videos. I also, at this point in time, don't schedule. I do schedule all my own posts. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And so I recommend that you separate yourself as much as you can from the posting or of the content or the production of the video. Okay. I always have people tell me, Liz, I can't hire a video editor. I mean, we do video editing. This isn't saying hire us, right? And I tell everyone that I know, you probably know a great video editor. Do you have teenage kids? Do you have a niece or nephew in their 20s? Do you have someone in your business that is all over social media? These are folks that you can pull in and have them help edit. I guarantee you they are going to be great at making sure that you have a good look, a good vibe, a good brand. And so if you're not ready to commit to a marketing team, a marketing consultant, a social media strategy, those are two great ways to use the resources that you have to help you figure out what you want to do and then help you get it actually posted. Now, I told you I do a lot of video. Um, and it is an amazing tool that I have found on social media. What I like to do is I do a combination of in-person networking, webinars like this. I build my social media up on LinkedIn, and then I do videos mostly twice a week on LinkedIn to stay connected and top of mind to folks. Okay. This allows folks to feel like they know me way more than they do, right? It's crazy that if you were to sit in a room with me doing this presentation, you feel like you have met me the same way as sitting on this webinar and listening to me, the same way as seeing my video scroll over social media. Now, do I think that people are going to watch my whole video? No, but they know me more as a three-dimensional person. They know who I am, and I'm staying top of mind in a real way that helps me deepen connections. So let's go back to actually how we do this. We're going to start getting into the weeds a little bit more. We talked about our why and what we're looking to do. Okay. So we know why we're showing up on social media. Okay. We want to build our business. We want to bring in clients. We want to meet new folks that can help us grow our business, grow our minds, grow our knowledge. Whatever those reasons are, we want to document those. Okay. Now we want to figure out who exactly do we want to speak to. Okay. You're speaking to probably more than one person. For example, in my business, I am trying to reach business owners who have technology hiccups, right? They have a piece of technology that they've bought that's not being used or isn't working correctly or isn't integrated correctly into their system, okay? I'm also talking to business owners, salespeople, folks who need and want to have a strategic social media plan, as well as help with video editing on their social media. But honestly, I'm also talking to folks that are other business owners, that are other solopreneurs, that are other folks that are out there growing their business so they can help me find new business, find clients to come in, or find new resources that I can have on my bench of contractors as well too. So think about who you want to reach on social media. Um, are they new employees maybe that you want to bring in? What needs and challenges then are they facing? What is going to speak to them? What is going to catch their attention, right? A lot of things in my tech implementation world is money spent, technology not rolled out, process information not being used, right? In the social media world, the awkwardness, how hard it is to get on camera. How do you find time? All of the things that we're talking about today. And then why is it important that you're talking, right? Um, and we'll get into this a little bit, but we want to keep building your credibility. Why are you showing up and talking to them? And what value and information are you providing them on this social media platform? If you can define this successfully and you keep repeatedly and consistently doing this, you're going to start to be seen as the expert out there, as the go to person, as the business that is the business in that area. Now, your brand also isn't for everyone, right? I come from the financial services industry that is traditionally not a pink lightning bolt earrings industry. And so I spent 22 years in, corporate dress, very conservative. But what I realized is going out to these events where I wanted to meet my clients after I showed up, I needed to be uniquely me. I needed to stand out. And so I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? And that's okay. You're not speaking to everyone. You're not solving everyone's problems, and that's fine. Pick how you want to focus on first, and then you can always change that. Now, the next thing I want to do is figure out what platform you want to start with, okay? The best advice I can give you is do not create one piece of content and blast it out over every social media platform on the same day, okay? I think that is the biggest mistake because the folks who like you are going to follow you on different platforms. And if they start to see the same thing on different platforms, I know what I do. I start to unfollow people on platforms, right? The platforms are also curated and created differently for different content, okay? So, what works on LinkedIn isn't going to work exactly on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. They all needed to be tweaked and uh, curated a bit for that platform. Now, that doesn't mean you can't repurpose content, okay? But the content that we want to have repurposed, we don't want to have it on the same day. We want to have it spread out, and we want to make sure that we're looking at the platform that we're posting it on. However, we cannot do everything all at once. So if you are not on any platform or any platform consistently, pick one platform to start, okay? If you're B2B and you're looking for other businesses and those businesses or people are on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is an amazing underutilized platform that can help you connect to those folks, especially if they're professionals, like I said, on LinkedIn. If you are looking for individual B2C, your world could be Facebook, could be TikTok, depending on their age demographic, could be Instagram as well. So, whatever that platform is, pick one, optimize it, figure that out, and then add your second one to it. My first platform, like I said, is LinkedIn. I then moved to Instagram, where I curate a little bit more. Oh, thank you. I didn't hit share. Thank you so much for catching that. I then go to Instagram where I curate a little bit more personal content, right? I get folks to know Liz a little bit more. I call it curated vulnerability behind the scenes, right? My personal life. And then I started YouTube as well too. And honestly, if you're looking at what struggling and starting over looks like, go find me on YouTube. I'm learning, I'm having fun. We're starting over again. But it is an experiment, right? There is no one set it and forget it. So pick one platform that is best for you and then optimize it and move on from one to the other. I see a question in the chat right now. I love these questions. I'm going to go back and forth probably if I catch one. We definitely will have plenty of time at the end for questions as well too. I see the question, how would you separate Instagram and Facebook, especially with all the platform sharing? I think how I would approach that is there are definitely different folks that are on Facebook and Instagram. You also, as a person, because part of what I want you to do is promote your business through a business page, but also promote yourself and your business through your personal page, right? And so part of that depends what platform you feel comfortable on and where your people are. I talk to a lot of folks who have very, very, very deep connections on Facebook and have clients that are my age, 46 to 65 plus. Facebook is the place you want to be in that instance. Now, I have a lot of folks that are my age, maybe down to 35, that are not on Facebook, that are not on anything other than Instagram, right? And so, again, we have to think about where you feel comfortable and how you also want to get in front of the audience that you have defined. Okay, thoughts on personal and business profiles versus business only. I love this. Okay. So it used to be back in the day, people found businesses that they trusted, and then they, from there, connected and trusted the people in it. I'm from the financial services industry. Historically, that is true, right? You have these big names that you trust, and then you find someone that works there. That is not true anymore. In the age of social media, as humans, we connect to a person, we trust a person, and then we trust the business that they're talking about, that they represent, that they own. So you need to have a personal and a business page, I do believe. However, I would say if you're starting out and you're not doing any on either, set up your business page, have it there, right? Have it as a flagship out there, but start posting through your personal page talking about your business. Be a human being, build that content, and we're going to talk about how to do that here in a second, and then build your business page. I like to think of business pages as like it's your corporate marketing, right? I mean, I say that a little joking. I'm a small business owner. I am my corporate marketing too, right? But I'm going to post stuff about my business. I'm going to post, I travel a lot for work, where Liz is going to be, new products that we have, client testimonials, all of those things I'm going to put on my business page. Then, as a person, I am going to share that post and I'm going to say something like, oh my gosh, I love the clients that we help, or, the reason that I started this business is to get reviews like this, or I'm so excited that we're launching this new product. The reason that we did this is I had this idea, or let me tell you the story about this recipe that I grew up cooking with my grandma and how I've used that to create this new food item that we have, right? Being able to take the business and tell the personal story behind it, especially as the business owner, is so, so, so powerful. And that's the thing that you can't outsource. We want to hear that from you and understand those kind of stories behind the scenes. Now, vice versa, right? Let's say you are out and having a event at your location, or you're at an event. I want you as a human being to share something about that on your personal pages. Pictures, hugs, smiles, happy things, right? And then the business page will share that saying, we love to see our team out and about, right? Being able to have that division between business and corporate. It's not going to happen all at once, guys. If you haven't started anywhere and it is just you, I really think you need to focus on that personal page and getting some of that up and running as well as you have your business page too. I love, love, love that question. Great question, guys. So we talked about platforms. Now let's talk about, we know where we're going to be, at least first, right? Now let's talk about what we want to talk about, okay? And I look at all of this stuff every 90 days. You can't change directions once a month. It's too much. But every 90 days gives you a good idea to say, okay, who do I want to talk to for the next 90 days? Where am I at? And especially as you're starting out, you're going to find that some of these things aren't your jam, aren't what you want to do, don't feel natural, and you'll pivot and move around and figure what is. So, content pillars are the traditional marketing term that we're talking about here. They're the main themes of your social media. And what I like to say is they give you lanes. So, when you're sitting down saying, what am I supposed to talk about? It helps you figure that out. Okay. They help your audience also understand who you are, why you're showing up, what you're passionate about, what your business done, and really stay on message so we have that connection that we want to see. I want you to pick three, okay? Depending on your audience, those three could be very, very different. I'll give you an example of some of mine. I talk right now about the struggles of getting onto video to successfully sell yourself, sell your business, or make sales if you're in sales. That's one of my content pillars. I also talk about the struggles that owners and executive leaders have in making the right strategic decisions to deal with technology implementation, right? How much money they lose, why they make the wrong decisions, why they're chasing shiny objects, things that they don't like to hear, but they probably know. And then right now, I'm also talking about my book. I wrote a book, co-authored a book with some other folks, Rethink Everything You Know About Networking. I am a big proponent of networking as well as social media to help promote your business. And so I right now am talking about my book, promoting my book, trying to get people to know about my book and the fact that I'm speaking on the book as well too. So think about what those three things are. Now, you might brainstorm 20 different things. Oh, Liz, I want to talk about this and this. And for this client, I want to talk about these three things. And this client, I want to talk about these three things. Great, great, great. Make a whole list. Pick three for the next 90 days. And then 90 days go back to it and figure out, do you want to change those three? Do you need to change out one? Really, what does that look like for you? It is going to help you stay consistent and create clear content and connection. So now we also want to talk about what type of posts you're making, because it's not just about what you're saying, there are different types of posts. I have a content calendar that I have scheduled a different type of post every day. When I started out, I was posting 2 days a week. I am on LinkedIn. I am now posting 7 days a week on LinkedIn, usually. However, I do not recommend that you start out posting 7 days a week. I also will say, although Gary Vee is very, very successful, I do not believe that for any of us on this call as business owners right now, the answer is to post 30 times a day on a platform. If your goal was to get the most views, the most likes, if your goal was to be an influencer, if your goal is to become the next Gary Vee, sure, absolutely. But as business owners, our goal is to maximize the marketing time and dollars we're spending on social media. And I think a lot of times social media has a very short shelf life. And so posting too often is not letting your audience see that type of post. So I'm going to tell you what I post on each of my 7 days of the week to give you an idea of post types. But that does not mean that I want you to post 7 days a week right now if you're posting, okay? So on LinkedIn, what I do is I have 2 days a week that I do a quote post. It's a little meme that we've created that's a picture of me. I have a whole list of quotes that I pull. I have a spreadsheet. When I find a good quote, I throw it on there. We put a quote on. I write a couple words. That goes up on Sundays and Thursdays. On Mondays, I do another type of likable content. I do a funny work meme. Usually it's about Excel. I'm a big Excel geek, Teams, how, Gmail, just little office business owner, blunders memes. It's my funny joke. I say, have a great week, kind of a fun way to start it out. Those two posts anybody can do, right? That doesn't tell you anything about my business. That doesn't tell you anything about really anything. But what it does do is grab your attention, and it's very likable content. Okay. People love to go, ha ha ha, give me a little thumbs up, give me a little laughy face on Monday morning, right? It's a good way to get engagement. Now, on Tuesdays and Fridays, I do a video, and I do a very short video. I try to make it 30 seconds. It is very hard to make a short video. On these videos, I am speaking directly to my potential customer, right? Someone who needs to be on social media, someone who needs their technology fixed. I'm saying things that I know they're feeling. You're wasting too much money on that piece of technology. You should not have signed that contract. What are we going to do? Or you need to get on video. You don't have the time, right? If an executive or a business owner has wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're not in that video going, Liz, that's right. That's exactly how I felt, right? But those are the posts that get me clients. Those are the posts that drive work to my business. And so remember, you need to have a balance of likable content as well as content that's going to help get you business. And that content might not be as liked, but I'll tell you, so many of my clients, when I meet them the first time on a discovery call or in person, they say, Liz, the video that got me, or I watched your videos and the one that said X, Y, and Z. So it's speaking to the right folks and it's doing what I want it to do. And that's why I always say, tie it back to the why at the very beginning, because I don't get hung up if those posts don't get a lot of likes. What I know is that my business is successful because of those posts. Okay. Now we have Wednesdays and Saturdays left. Wednesdays is kind of my mix it up day, right? I might do a carousel post, either of words about my business, a certain problem, how to solve it. I might do a carousel of pictures. Maybe I was traveling for work. Maybe we had an event. Maybe there would be a new product for you. If I'm speaking or if I'm doing something, I use that to kind of plug into those days. And then on Saturday, I do what I call a personal post, right? I write something that's a little bit more vulnerable, curated vulnerability, right? I speak to a lot of leaders who are growing teams and making mistakes in technology purchasing. I was there, right? So I can write stories that can speak to them in a more personal way. I tell stories about being a young leader, right? When I first got into management in my 20s. I tell stories about, when I started my business 4 years ago and mistakes that I made or lessons that I learned. Um, I think that people connect to people, and I don't know exactly what is right for you or your business, but for me, that helps me go a little bit deeper. Now, these are not the only types of posts. What I would like you to do is think about what types of posts could work for you and are drawn to you. Some people like to do picture posts, right? Post a picture, do a thought post on something. There are different types of posts. Figure out what works for you and then create a schedule, right? You might come up with 7 types of posts, start with 2 And I can't recommend enough video as one of those types of posts as well too, because the way that it will build connection quick is absolutely unbelievable. Um, I see a question. Did I experiment a lot to get this formula of what type to post and when, or did I follow a certain standard method? Oh, great question. I experimented, right? I'm not going to lie. I started out doing knowing not what I was doing at all. I listened to some people. And I've actually kind of combined a lot of those different theories as we've gone over, but it was a lot of trial and error. I kind of was doing my meme posts randomly and realized how much people love them and started doing them on a Monday. You have to figure out what works for you. I always tell people consistency is better than anything else. And so if you're going to post 2 days a week, post 2 days a week, but play around with what types of posts work for you and figure out. Half of it is what feels natural, right? Like I would create a certain type of post, or I would have a content pillar that I would think I would want to talk about. And I would sit down and I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't do anything. And I couldn't write that one, right? And I'd move on to the next one, it would come. And so that kind of told me this isn't the right thing. And so absolutely trial and error. And I think you have to start and figure out kind of what feels natural for you. The great thing about social media is there is no right answer, and anyone that's telling you that is probably trying to sell you a course. I don't care what day you pick to post. I don't care what time you pick to post. I care more that you consistently post on the same days every single week, every single month, right? And that could mean if you're not posting at all, posting once a month consistently and then posting once every other week consistently, right? How can you keep building this in a way that will keep going for you and not burning you out? I talk to people all the time. They're like, Liz, I think I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna post 7 days a week and this, and I'm gonna do this and this. And they're not posting probably after 6 days, if they even last that long, right? With any good strategic business plan, we know that we have to be realistic in how we can grow and scale it. And so starting out where what feels natural and easy to you, right, is a good place. I always like to tell people steal my quote post. I stole them from someone else. I am not original in posting a quote and writing something about it on LinkedIn or any social media platform. And if you can't start with video, make sure that you're doing a written word post with a picture of a person. You, if it makes sense, right? Your team, maybe your business bestie, whatever that looks like. But we want to humanize, especially your personal social media page. So now we know our content pillars, we know what types of posts we want to do. Now we need to figure out what we want to talk about, okay? And this is where I would set a timer and do a brain dump under every single content pillar. So let's say you own a realty company, you're a realtor. I just talked to a bunch of realtors, so that's why I'm going to throw this out here. Maybe one of your content pillars is local area attractions in this neighborhood for new families, right? And so maybe you could do a series on local parks and playgrounds in the area, local restaurants that are kid friendly in the area, local events that happen in the area, right? What are all those different things? Parents groups in the area, activities in the area, all of those different things that you could brainstorm under that content pillar, right? For me, for technology and implementation for business owners, right? How do you know when to buy technology? How do you scale? How do you go from processes that are, in your head to writing them down on paper and training other people? Perhaps if you have some sort of let's say you have an accounting firm or something like that. Maybe one of your content pillars is, talking about networking and figuring out how to grow their client base because maybe they don't know how to network. And so you could be providing information to them on local events that are happening, different tips that you have, different events, different books. All of those informations would be helpful in order to brainstorm. So what I do is I just sit down, set a timer, I brain dump under every single content pillar, and then I sit down and I make my plan. Make sure you do a couple of things to stay consistent. Okay. And again, this is some things. Create, batch and create content. Okay. So what I do is I have time scheduled on my calendar 3 times a week. I do a lot of social media, guys. I don't think you will need 3 times a week if you're just starting out to sit down and write my posts, right? I do not wake up every morning and say, what am I going to write about today? I have created my content calendar of what I want to talk about on what day. And then I sit down and I write as many posts as I can in an hour, put it down, the next morning, wake up. I use the scheduling function within each individual platform in order to schedule those posts. And I like to honestly try and be almost 30 days out. If I'm 2 weeks out, I'm happy. If I'm 30 weeks days out, I'm ecstatic because that means if something happens, I have a little bit of wiggle room to get back and create those posts. Um, yeah, so I do create posts way ahead of time. I try, so right now it's March. I'm working on my April content right now. So that can get done and that can get scheduled. That also lets me do things like plan it out, even in an Excel workbook, and hand it off to maybe you have an admin, a front desk person, maybe you have a part-time person that does something. They could even go in and schedule those posts for you. But I definitely recommend working ahead because it takes away the ugh, I don't know what to post. It lets you have some wiggle room and time, and it lets you adjust back and forth. The last thing I would say is find a way to stay accountable, okay? That could be a couple different things. It can be a business bestie that you have who wants to do it with you, right? Maybe you have a co-owner like I do who, gets together with me and helps make sure that I do it. I have someone that edits my videos and posts them. So I know I have to get them to that person at a certain point in time for this cog in the wheel to stay successful. Whatever your accountability is, do not do it alone. Find that support system that you can come in and have. Now, I'm going to really quickly stop sharing. And give me 1 second, guys. Now, there are a couple things I want to talk about as far as mindset goes, really quick, before we get in and open it up to some nitty-gritty questions. Okay. There are 3 mindset pieces that I want you to keep in mind because I truly believe in both your company branding as well as your personal branding, okay? And now I'm talking to right now the folks in the room that are like, I don't need to be the face of my business. I want to outsource it out. I want to hide somewhere, okay? You offer so much value in your personal brand. It might sound cringy, but I'm going to say the words that you bring to your business. Okay. And so I want you to remember 3 things if it's hard for you to show up. Number one, consistency is better than quantity. So if that means that you, as the business owner, do, like I said, a post once a month starting out, a post every other week starting out, however you want to grow, that is fine. But I want to see you posting personally about things because that will act as top of funnel that will then push to your business as well too. Okay. Number 2, be uniquely you. Like I talked about, this girl goes into a financial service mortgage professional conferences and looks like this. That definitely pushes some people away. Those are not the people who are my ideal clients. No offense, right? But it definitely attracts the folks that I do need to work with. So show up as who you are, right? Don't be afraid to let a little bit of that curated you right out. I'm not saying that's, I had this question 2 days ago when I spoke. I'm not saying that means turn on the camera and start live streaming that you don't know why no one's showing up for your business or you need more customers or something like that. No, but there are things that make you you. There are reasons that people are drawn to you. Use those because that is what sets you apart on social media. And the whole point of social media is to get that attention of people want to find more. The third thing I will say, especially with getting your face and hopefully your video out there on social media, especially if you have someone in your life who is saying, let me record you, you need to do video, please, please, please take them up on that offer. Just start, okay? Just start. It feels cringy. Oh, I don't want to post this. Oh, I don't want to look at this. I mean, I'm going to tell you, those first videos that I did, guys, I did not like them at all. Nobody likes the way they look on video. Nobody likes the way they sound on video, okay? But when I was getting started on social media, I heard one piece of advice that for me just kind of like set it all apart. And so I always, always, always like to tell people this. I like to do a lot of research, right? So I was watching YouTube. I was watching a lot of people who were doing social media. I was watching this one woman who had been doing vlogs and different things on YouTube for over 10 years. And she was being interviewed by someone, and they were talking about like her first 3 videos that she had put up on YouTube. And someone asked her, don't you look back on that and kind of like cringe? Like, oh, like look at the work you're doing today and look at that. And she goes, well, yeah, but if I didn't cringe, I would worry because that means I wouldn't have gotten any better. And for me, something just clicked in my head, right? Um, if I start today, I'm going to be better than those folks who didn't start today, right? If I start figuring it out now, like we talked about, I'm going to be so far ahead of knowing exactly what is working for me right now than the folks who haven't. So if there is one piece of advice I can give you is just start. Everybody feels cringy, but that's okay. And that's kind of the point. You really, really, really have to start in order to really, as I'm going to say it, get shit done. Now, I want to leave plenty of time for questions, okay? So I want to answer the questions that you guys have. But before I do that, I'm going to share my screen one more time. And I have some homework for you guys, right? Because I want to make sure that we are leaving here with some actionable items. So again, this week, I would like you to do 5 things starting today. Number 1, pick your platform, okay? If you're not on any platforms for your business or or personal, pick one, and I would pick it to be your personal page on a platform where your clients are. If you have clients that are on LinkedIn, I would suggest that platform is LinkedIn. Number 2, pick should not be 3 to 5. Do not look at that 5 number. Pick 3 content pillars. You can brainstorm 3 to 5, but I want you to narrow it down to 3 general groups of things that you are going to talk about for the next 90 days. Okay? Define when you will be posting, create your content calendar, and then block the time that you will create that first post as well too, and set that reoccurring, right? That might be, I like to do it first thing when I get up in the morning. Sometimes people like to do it later, sometimes on lunch, whatever that is on a Saturday, block some time and then create your first post. Okay. I don't care. I don't care if it's perfect. There is no perfect. Okay. I don't even care if it necessarily falls into, if you think it's perfect and it falls into a content pillar. The most important thing is that you post it. Okay. Post something, get it out there, kind of get that ball rolling, and that momentum is going to keep moving. Okay. So let's kind of open it up to some questions. I know I missed some along the way. If you guys do have any questions, please, please, please drop them in the chat. So I see I sell baskets. Okay, so it sounds like you have products that you actually sell. Um, Equipment that you need to post something. A phone, guys. I mean, honestly, everything that you need to do can be done with this little piece of equipment right here, okay? Video and everything. So download the app you want to post on. And then even if you want to create video content, you can use your phone. Phones today are lightning years better than they were even in the past. To record that. And if you go to my website, theshortsolution.com, we have a mobile filming guide that you can download, put your email and address in there. We'll email it to you that has all of the specs for correctly recording on your phone. Great. How do you organize your content calendar? I tend to get overwhelmed keeping ideas and calendars organized. Yes, 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 yes. You and me both. So here's what I recommend. Okay. The tool doesn't matter. I am going to tell you the structure and then we can talk about what tool works for you. Okay. So you can do this in Excel. You can do this in like a Monday, a Trello. I'm a Microsoft shop, so I use Microsoft Planner. Okay. But I have two different things that I keep. I have my actual content schedule. Okay. And that let's talk about Excel. That's first column, every day of the week that you're posting, right? So if you're posting twice a week, Monday, this date, Wednesday, this date. Please do not say you have to post on Monday, Wednesday. I'm just saying. Then the platform. Right now, it's only one platform. Okay. And then what that type of post is. Okay. I then go back and plug in the next line what that topic would be. So let's just go back, right? It's going to be date, LinkedIn, um, topic, and so mine would be why it's hard for you to get on video. Okay. And it's video and then why it's hard for you to get a video. Okay. And so then I have two columns that show status and I change that from need to create to scheduled. And that just becomes my log of everything that I do. I also go back and copy a link to the post in there. And if anybody would like to have a copy of that, I'm going to put my admin address in the chat. I will give you a copy of my content calendar if you email. Let me just make sure I spell her email right. Um, and in that Excel content calendar and how I create that, I have no problem giving that out to someone, okay? To all of you guys. I also have a separate Excel or planner or whatever you want it to be. That's where I dump all my ideas in, right? And so that's where I kind of, organize, play around, and then I pull from there and I dump it into my actual planner month by month of what I'm going to create. Um, Depending on what shop you are, you have a tool. Even, I mean, use a piece of paper, guys, okay? It's really the structure that matters first before you get too in the weeds about how you schedule it. Definitely do recommend though, especially if you're going to be cross-posting to multiple platforms, that calendar is really going to help you. And having those links to those posts is going to help you then go back and be able to pull that post, pull that content and repost it on another platform. Great questions. Um, Great. I love this question. How do you decide on a scheduling app or assistance app? My biggest worry has always what's been actually useful and what seems useful. So here's what I'm going to recommend. I do not recommend buying specific software that's going to push out to the social media. Okay. What that usually does is push the same content. It doesn't have to, but people usually do, right? They hit a button and close their eyes and say, send this out to everything. The problem with an app that can post to multiple platforms is when that app brings on new features and functionality, it's going to take a while for that application to be able to post that content type for you. I think it is just as easy for me to go into LinkedIn and schedule the post because every software has the ability to go in there and proactively schedule than it is for me to schedule it in another software. I think scheduling software kind of comes from a time where social media wasn't as friendly. You couldn't schedule on all the platforms and it was a little bit more static. I recommend scheduling directly in the app that you're posting in. Great, great, great questions. Um, okay. I do IT services without selling anything, but I recently started posting projects on my personal LinkedIn. I need to rebuild my brand before starting a social media business profile, so I have work to do before starting. I love that. I love that. I would love to check out your LinkedIn as well too, but I think that is super smart, right? Like understanding that building you as a subject matter expert is going to lend credibility. People are going to say, "Oh, what's he talking about?" and then follow you to your business and your page. Um, Okay, I see another question. I'm a doula and yoga instructor. Do you recommend one business page or two? Great question. Um, so what I would recommend for someone like you, and I have this problem a little bit too, right? I do two totally different things. I mean, technology, implementation, and video and social media are not traditionally in the same realm of area, right? I think for you, you have to figure out, are your clients enough of a same overlap that it makes sense to speak to both? And if you do not have a personal page already, I think starting to speak on your personal page to those different audiences is where you should start as well too, before worrying about the business pages for either of those. You know, I keep I have the same page and I just have different services. I think it really does matter on how you brand it elsewhere, how you sell it, and how much of an overlap the clients and the services have. But you should talk about both of those things as a whole person on your LinkedIn or your Facebook or your personal Instagram or your personal TikTok, because you can tell those individual stories targeted to those two different groups in different posts and videos as well too. So that's for especially for someone like you, the personal is really important because then people understand you can speak to those different audiences, pull them in and get them to the right space as well too. I love that question. Ba, 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 ba. I okay. I got off Instagram. I saw AI and my little lights just perked up. I got off Instagram due to AI and creator data being used to teach it. I know how crucial the platform is for business, but I'm hesitant to get back on. What are your thoughts on AI and how do you get navigate it? Woo, woo, woo. That's a big one. I mean, I think, I don't think any of us at this point in time really know the full extent of what some of those ramifications are, right? And I do think that we are in a real world where we have to be very careful about what we put out there. However, on the flip side, I do think that we are in an age where the technology is here. And what I focus on is, first of all, promoting safeguards, right? I do truly believe that. And making sure that I'm doing what I feel like is ethically right for myself and my business and my clients. All of that being said, I also a lot of times get the questions about, well, can I just hire AI to do all of my social media? Or Liz, look, I have this little AI guy that I did, of me and put it out there. I do think a couple things with AI. Number one, I do think that, regulations are constantly changing. And so, especially if you're in a heavily regulated business, be very careful about where you plug in AI into your business. As far as social media goes, people connect authentically to people, right? I mean, you're gonna like me more because I flub over my words a little bit, or I forget to share my screen, or do something human than being a perfect robot. And I honestly think there is going to be a backlash towards wanting some human connection. AI isn't going away, don't get me wrong. Um, I use AI as a ideation partner for social media. And then, I'm not posting any business or client secrets and any of that as well too. But I think you do have to be careful about what you put or on social media. I personally don't post any of my children's pictures or use my kids in my business promotion or social media for some of those concerns and, in general as well too. So it's a very, very interesting time. And I wish there was an easy answer. I think more of us need to understand and be involved and make sure that we're doing what is right for ourselves and our business. Gosh, was that a great answer? I'm not sure, guys. That's a great question though. I mean, for real, it really is. How do you find a mastermind group? That's a great question. So a couple different things. It depends on what area of business you're in, okay? Um, Honestly, if other business professionals or other businesses are your target client, I would create a mastermind group. I would ask your potential referral partners, folks, your potential clients who need to create social media. Hey, do you want to get in a masterminds group? I'm starting it every Friday. We get together. Definitely would be very powerful. Other than that, I would look on Facebook. I would look in LinkedIn. Always willing to message me on LinkedIn and throw you some suggestions as well as different groups that are out there. But the most important part, guys, what I want you to get away from this is there's no class, there's no book, there's no set it and forget it, right? It is how can you authentically show up in a way consistently that's going to support your business and your brand. And so the accountability, the people in the room with you, right? That's the beauty of the mastermind group and really getting folks together. And hey, I mean, maybe we get to one here together in Chicago and we start one if there's not out there. I'd love to get together with some folks and chat about social media once a month as well too. Um, would you offer any of your suggestions be different for nonprofits? We want people to love our staff, but we want the focus to be on the people that we serve. For sure. And I mean, I think that so let's talk about nonprofits. Something for I mean, I think you can have those different content pillars, right? So you can be talking for a nonprofit, I would be talking about, how you are serving the people you're serving, the good that you're doing, right? The stories. Those are, I'm sure, heartwarming, wonderful stories that we need more and more of, right? Um, but I do like the staff as well too. And it's not just to meet the staff, right? Maybe it's your staff member telling the story, right? Maybe it's getting your staff on video using their humanity to tell kind of those client success stories, right? And so being able to elevate and show those stories. And then, I would say a third client content pillar would definitely be education, right? You would want to be educating in, what your non-for-profit is about. But on social media, that is, as I call, edutainment, right? We are very short attention spans, unless we're on YouTube. YouTube, you can do long form content, but we want to give quick, I'm not going to say this right. It's Friday. Quick clips of information that would draw people in and make people want more, right? We're not trying to explain everything about what we do, about our non for profit, about our business, but there is an education component for sure for any business, but especially for a nonprofit. And so I would lean into that as well too. And, I think especially I did some nonprofit work in my past, got my degree in women's studies. I thought I wanted to run a domestic violence shelter. Did not end up doing that. But I think depending on what that service or help that you survive is, bringing joy, right? Bringing some sort of joy as well too is an important balance for a nonprofit in social media. That's kind of how I tweak some of that advice. I love these questions, guys. So absolutely, I get that personal pages for nonprofits would not work, but you can have your people on those personal pages, right? So if you have your non-for-profit out there, and I mean, honestly, your people are still going to have a personal social media page. And so for a nonprofit, I would, especially a smaller one who has some control, I would encourage your staff to share your stuff on their social media. I mean, we can't make any of our employees post anything, but them posting about the company, not making them is a good thing to spread the awareness as well too. And so, I mean, I would just encourage you to think about how that could look, and what that might look like about, again, the employees could tell stories on the non-for-profit page, but then how maybe those things possibly could align depending on what your policy is. I'm definitely in the financial services world, so I understand, the challenges that there are. But a lot of times I tell people, I don't even want you to talk about anything that you can't talk about, right? I want you to talk about more of the humanity stuff. Um, Okay, I use my personal page to promote my book, and then I use my business page to promote your services and workforce development. Should I have a content calendar for both pages? I recommend, depending on how much you're posting, you can start off with one, but I think it would be easier to have them separated out. Um, I have my business for short solutions all on one content calendar and page, but then I have a separate office building, office rental, and I have a completely separate content calendar and content page for that, right? So like those two things, it depends on how much the posts are and how much it makes sense for them to separate. But the more you're posting, I think it definitely is easier, especially if you have three different content pillars, three different audiences, everything like that. I would have two different calendars. Any other questions? I'm going to roll up and see if I missed anything, guys. If anybody's too shy, please ask. I do know that usually, if one person has the question, a lot of other folks do too. Well, yeah, so about a mastermind here in Chicago. Let's do it, guys. Shoot me. So I'm down. What I would suggest, guys, is if you want to talk about a mastermind here in Chicago, let's set one up. I'm totally down for it. Reach out and find me. The best place to find me is on LinkedIn. I am the Liz Short, and I will show you my LinkedIn page right now. Give me one second. LinkedIn is a great place for you to go and see what I have done. It will also get you to all of my other pages, including my website, so you can see everything there. This is my LinkedIn if you would like to connect with me over here. Um, I also, if you would like a copy of my blank content calendar, find me on LinkedIn, DM me content calendar, and I'll send you that. I can also, I think you guys send out a copy of the webinar, but I have the whole personal branding guide, and would just love to give anyone who would like to have a free 15-minute consultation, about their personal social media page, the ability to. So find me on LinkedIn, shoot me a DM. I'll send you a link to schedule something, and we can set up a time and, start looking over there as well too. And comment mastermind with your email address too, and we'll get something set up in the Chicagoland area. I think that'd be a fun way for all of us to get together and start learning from each other as well too. If there's no other questions, guys, I really appreciate your time today. If I could, where can we get your book? You guys are so wonderful. How nice. Let me give you a copy of that too. I'll send you a link right now. If you guys can take one piece of advice away from me right now, what I would say is just start, okay? It is never easy to start, but it is probably without a doubt the best decision that I have made in my career. And so here's a copy. If you you guys would like to buy the book, it is about networking. I just put a link in the chat. It's called Rethink Everything You Know About Networking. And my chapter is on the power of networking and video and follow up and making the success in my business happen. So guys, I really, really, really hope to hear from all of you on LinkedIn. Shoot me a message. I put the my admin's email in the chat. And I would love to hear from you guys. I hope this was valuable today. Please take this as some motivation and inspiration to get out there and to just start. And let's connect in the real world, guys. I can't wait.
Thank you, Liz, for today's presentation. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, your account will automatically update within 24 hours to give you credit. And to register for more programs, webinars, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Again, thank you to today's presenter, Liz, and thank you for joining us this morning. And everyone have a great weekend.